So we heard from EPA head Scott Pruitt. He said that the president had thoughtful deliberation on this. And he also continued to dodge the question from several reporters on whether or not the president believes in climate change. So let's go ahead and bring in our national correspondent, Chip Reid. Chip, that really did seem to be the theme here. No one is touching that question. What exactly does the president believe when it comes to climate change?
Yeah, well, nobody wants to speak for the president on something that controversial. They want him to do it. And of course, when he was asked at the Oval Office if he still believes climate change is a hoax, he ignored the question. And both Sean Spicer and Administrator Pruitt avoided the question too. I think that Mr. Pruitt, in his lengthy answer to that, was implying that the fact that the president went through this process suggests that he doesn't believe it's a complete hoax. And I can tell you, there was a time during the campaign when he did say that he believes there is some kind of connection between human activity and climate change. So it's not as though he has always called it a hoax, but the times he did call it a hoax were pretty emphatic, and so it sure would be nice to get some clarity, but we did not get any here today.
Right, and even Scott Pruitt himself had sort of mentioned, okay, I understand that potential connection between humans making the Earth warm. What do you think is the big takeaway here?
Well, the big takeaway is that they're being very careful to repeat what the president has said. This is a White House where you really don't want to contradict the president. There was one senior White House official who recently suggested that coal was on its way out. I can't imagine the spanking he got from the president having said that, and today that official made clear that coal is big and coal is going to be saved by this. So you really don't want to contradict this president. It's something that could limit your time in this White House and certainly could limit your access to the president. So what we really heard was a repeat of what the president said in different words, that the Paris deal was a bad deal for America. It was a bad deal for workers. It put America at a disadvantage to other countries all around the world. One confusion here is there's all this talk about renegotiation, but you don't need to renegotiate. All the United States would have to do is stay in the Paris deal and simply unilaterally lower the targets. The Obama targets they think are too high, well, they could put in place some Trump targets that would be lower. But I asked Sean Spicer about that, and he said, well, the president wants to renegotiate. I don't know if it's because he doesn't understand that distinction, or he just decided to take the easy way out in answering my question.
Yeah, he definitely didn't want to answer your question. We certainly saw that. And not to mention the idea of renegotiate, but Scott Pruitt also touched on what President Trump said yesterday as well about possibly re-entering this Paris deal, which of course world leaders have said, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, that's really part of renegotiation. I think when he was saying we could re-enter if they were to renegotiate, they're not going to renegotiate. But again, there's really no need to renegotiate anything.
Right.
If the United States wants to lower the targets, they can simply do so.
What do you think about how really pulling out of this deal kind of turns us into sort of this isolationist nation here? Are you hearing from folks there that could be a potential problem moving forward, not only in America, but on the world stage?
Yeah, I think that there is some concern, certainly with Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State. I think that's one reason that he did not support getting out of the Paris deal. But here in the White House, the party line, the presidential's line, is that America first, and we're not going to worry about that kind of thing. If it looks a bit isolationist, well, that's just fine. That's part of an America first policy.
All right, Chip Reid for us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.